All right, so now that we took a few minutes to connect all the contour lines, basically what I've done is turned off all the other layers except the finish ground contours. And if we take a look in the view filter manager, obviously these are all flat. So I'm going to go to plan view and I've got only the finish ground contours on. I can even turn off this image, which will make things, actually I need the image on, so let me turn that back on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to come in and I need to elevate these. Now there's a couple ways that we can do this. And one of the ways is to, under data prep, you can do contour or contour by crossing or contour by label. Because we really don't have any labels, I'm just going to do contour. And my interval is 1. I'm going to go up and I'm going to start with 21. Okay. And then I can pick the contour line. Now something to point out, if I go over to my view filter manager under display options, I can come over here and I can tell it to display in alternate color. And what that does, you can see it turned everything to gray. So what I'm going to do is turn everything to a, let's just pick a color here. Let's do yellow. Yellow is kind of ugly on a white background, so let's just do red. All right, so basically everything in red right now is no elevation to it. So what this will do is when I now set my current elevation and I pick the contour line and I pick that line, it turns it to green. And then this is 22, and you can see my increment is 22, so I'm going to pick that one, 23, 24, and 25. So now I've elevated all those contours. If we look at the 3D view, it's kind of hard to see, but if you don't know this in your 3D view, if you hold your control key down and your shift key down at the same time, and you roll your wheel away from you, your wheel mouse, you can see my vertical exaggeration down here is grown. So it kind of shows you the separation of that view. If I hold the control and shift down and I scroll it back, I can change that vertical back to maybe 1.5 or something. So you'll see this when I get more detail in there. All right, so there's so there's all my finished ground contours have been elevated pretty quick, all the way up. Now let's switch over to the finished ground. So I'll show you another option. So I'm going to go to the existing contours. I'm going to turn off the proposed contours, and you can see, again, I've got those. And I could do the same thing here. I want to show you just another one. This one's not too bad because I only have a couple contours, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and I'm going to, again, they're all red because they are, there's no elevation. And I'm going to use the change elevation command. So I'll just show you another command. If you go to properties, you'll notice that you can't change the elevation property because it's a line string. So what I'm going to do is go use this change elevation command, and I'm going to set this one to an absolute elevation of 26. So when I do that, now I've elevated that contour line, and you can see that it's turned to gray because that's the original layer color. Now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do this one. So this is my 21. So I'm going to select this line here and I'm going to set this to 21. And I'm going to click apply. All right. So I've elevated those two. And I've elevated one at the down here and I elevated one up here. Now this one here is going to be 20. That's 21. Right. This will be 22. 23, 24. Or this should be 25, right? So 21, 22, I'm missing 23, all right? So let's go back, all right? And kind of good thing I noticed that. I'm gonna go look and see why did I miss 23? Maybe I forgot to relayer it. If I select that line there, it looks like I didn't join it. So I'm gonna have to join this one. So I'm gonna pause the video. I'm going to join this real quick, and then I'll come back to show you what you're going to do next. Actually, I decided I might as well show you how I'm going to do this, right? So it's kind of hard to see everything in color, so I'm going to go back to my display, and I'm going to say normal. So I can see these in a different color. I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to select that first one, right-click, and join lines. Okay, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to pick that one and just join this guy back. I must have missed it when I was going through, which is fine. I think I started down here and I overlooked 23. So there we go. Okay, so that one's all set. I still want to go to properties and put it on the right layer. All right, so I'm gonna put it back on my original ground contour. And then I'm gonna go back to the tab. I'm gonna go back to my filters, turn all these off. And now I've got all those, right? So now I can go back to my display alternate color. And so now I've got 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26, right? So again, because I could have easily just gone through and done what I did on the contour piece, but I want to show you the contour by crossing. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to leave it to automatic, and it's going to say from and then to, and that's where my cursor is. So I'm going to pick here, which is in this location, and I'm going to drag a line across. And as I drag that line across, I'm going to make sure not in the gap, and I'm going to make sure I cross over here, and I'm going to click. And you can see it elevates all of those lines. And if we look in our 3D view, you can see that they've been elevated. Now, it didn't elevate those because I didn't cross those. Now, I can easily, now that I have two, as long as I cross two that are elevated, and the third, in this case, it isn't, I can do the same thing. My highlight is in from. I'm going to drag this, and I'm going to elevate that one. And then over here, this one is actually, I'm just going to close this. This one's 24 and this one's 24, so it's kind of hard to do both of those. So I'm just going to take this one and change its elevation to 24 and click apply. And now I've got no more red and everything's been elevated and it should all be properly elevated. Okay. So that's it. I mean, I can either digitize that or I can do this process of joining and then elevating the contours, cleaning it up, making sure that it's on the right layer. The next step will be to categorize these two layers and automatically build our proposed and our existing ground surfaces, and we'll show that next.